Hi, my name's Kalila, and I would like to teach you about your body. I've been wanting to write a book, in which I have started, about the human body, an owner's manual. And I find it fascinating that, I have found books about an owner's manual, so to speak, for the human body, which was great. And I actually bought the book that I found. But it's very modality, it's very structured. And I didn't read the whole book. I've like skimmed it basically at this point. And there's a lot of books out there about taking care of ourselves, so it's not something that's new. But I think that a lot of them forget that we need to treat this body as if it's separate from us. Most people are raised, at least my generation especially, but we're more and more detached from what I've noticed than being more engaged with ourselves. We're more out there. Like everything is outside of us and doing what's right out there. And nobody takes time to go in here. So I would like us to look at the body a little bit different. So instead of thinking of it as this is me, because I'm not this body. I am driving this body. I control this body for the most part. But with even that, we're like 5% in control. 95% of all of our thoughts, everything that our movements, everything comes from the subconscious. Only 5% is within the conscious mind of the decisions that we make, that we have this control over, versus it coming from the subconscious that controls and pushes the conscious to do things. So when we think about it that way, we can look at our brains or our spirit, spirit is the right word, but the soul, there's the word. The soul is basically who we are. That's what is fed all of the information that the body picks up. The brain processes it and says, hey, this is what's going on. This is the experience that we get to have. It's like being in a dream state in our mind, right? So that we're experiencing or getting feedback from everything this body does and experiences, everything that we see, smell, taste, touch, feel, every experience, every program that we run in our brains telling ourselves, you're not good enough or whatever. All of those programs, or those programs that say you are fucking phenomenal, I love you. And those are the programs we should be playing more often, instead of the ones going, yeah, you just can't do that. But we have all of these programs that we're fed based, basically, if you will, on our astrology, from our natal charts or whatever. When we're born, we are mathematically programmed to be certain ways, have certain programs running, basically hardwired into our psyche, right? And when we think about that, or at least when I think about that, should I say, I find it fascinating that we can take this program of, here's a good one. I found out in my gene keys that I am predisposed to talk loud and talk fast. And I've been working on that a whole lot, to slow my talk down and to not be auditorily assaulting people with my higher volume. And I always attributed that to my dad was deaf in one ear, and it was always speak up. And if we didn't say the exact same words from the first story to the second story, then obviously we're lying, and you'd get smacked and sent to your room, and you go think about what you did, kind of thing. And so as always, you had to hurry up and get the story out, and you had to say it loud enough so that you didn't have to repeat it. So which came first? Was I predisposed to talking loud and fast, and it didn't make any difference that my dad was deaf in one ear? Or was that part of my program, thus I chose my father as my parent, or so to speak, to initiate that, to solidify that pre-program of talk loud and fast, as an example. And it's really crazy because, I mean, most Gene Keys, it's like, oh, you're a leader, you're this, you're that, you're a healer. And my Gene Key says, yeah, you just make it up as you go along, which is what I've been doing my whole life. And I was hoping to get some guidance. And basically, it's like, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's your calling here. Make it up as you go along. I'm like, okay, so getting on with this human body that we're taking care of, there's so many aspects that influence every part of us. And the main thing I want to really make clear with me making this video about our bodies is every single one is different. Just like in my Gene Keys where it says, make it up as you go along, everybody's is different. We all have different needs and different things missing. Let's say you take the puzzle pieces of all of the different beings and you just kind of throw them. Some get mixed up and lost, and you got to kind of like find those pieces, and you got somebody else's piece stuck there, so you got to get rid of that piece and put that piece in. That's kind of what we got to do with our bodies for our health. Mental, physical, structural, emotional, all of it. The seen and the unseen, right? And so when we take care of the physical body, it takes care of the mental body, our spirit. So if I'm taking in a lot of toxic foods, a lot of processed foods, sugars and coffees and sodas and fast food, burgers and all of that junk that's going into my body, if I'm doing that to my body, then my body is saying, yeah, the brain's fucked up. You're not thinking clearly. It's all gunked up because it's so processing all of the toxins and stuff like that. It's constantly an overload, and you can't think clearly because the body is putting all of its energy into, how do I keep this body going with all of this gunk? We got to clean this up and clean that up and get rid of that. And it takes different jobs, right? So if we cleanse our bodies, or if we do intermittent fasting where we get this chance to heal versus work, then our bodies finally get to heal and process all that stuff and start eliminating all of that gunk that we've been putting into it. Then we can finally start getting healthy, and then our brains start functioning better, and all of a sudden we start feeling a little happier. And then we want to do more because it's a domino effect either direction. We can go down that dominoes of getting sicker and doctors and drugs and medications and getting this cut out and that cut out and this surgery and whatever else, and having to do all kinds of crazy things to try and stay healthy as we're going down the domino effect that way. Or we can take the dominoes the other direction and we can get healthier and stronger and better, because the more we start taking care of ourselves, our bodies just go, thank you for that amazing hug. And I love you too. And I'm going to do better for you. And we start, wow, my body doesn't hurt like it used to. And I'm feeling better. All of these things will start taking us up that path of getting healthier and better and stronger and more spiritual, right? Just seeing things like colors will become more vivid. We get more excited. I'm finding that my glasses are not quite the right prescription now. My eyes are getting better. I still have a little bit of that blurriness because I've been needing glasses for the last almost 20 years now it's been. Gosh, and I don't like glasses. So I am choosing to not wear them right now, and I'm choosing to wear them less and less as I've been doing different things to help heal this body. So we're going to talk about some of the things that I do after I continue to cover kind of like all of the different aspects. So let's get that first. So we have this outer body, right? Our skin. And nobody takes into account, or few people take into account, that anything that you put on your body, your clothing, jewelry, lotions, oils, whatever, perfumes, everything that we put on our body, it absorbs through our skin. Our skin is not like glass where it can't get penetrated through. If you've ever spent like, hours in the pool, you know that you gotta keep going pee because your body's absorbing the water and then you're flushing it out. So we should understand that if I put something on my skin, it's absorbing in. Where did it go? If I'm pouring lotion on it and going like this and it disappears, it's soaking into the skin, right? Same thing with the fibers. Especially when it's hot, there's chemicals in everything. I can't say that my beautiful linen dress isn't without any chemicals whatsoever in it. I do wash with baking soda and vinegar and very clean like that. I've used Dr. Bronner's in the past, but now it's just even cleaner than that. I don't want anything that I don't need. So I use baking soda and vinegar when I wash my laundry. And this is linen. So it's of the highest vibration, but then it's also black. And black dyes can have a negative effect. So it's hard, nearly impossible, should I say, to be completely without chemicals. So we need to make sure that our bodies are strong enough to process those chemicals that we can't avoid, which is the whole fasting and cleansing, eating foods that's going to help draw out chemicals, iodine, seaweed. There we go. Seaweed is a really good one to help pull the toxins out of the body, pulls out the heavy metals, which is amazing to do, especially if you're eating seafood, which is going to be high in mercury, which we don't want because that'll make you kind of go crazy. And you can see that in the population. Some people acting a little bit stranger and they're like eating a high diet of seafood. Kind of goes hand in hand. Anyways, continuing on. So we have the outer, our skin, which is our first line of defense. And we don't always take care of that, right? So that's something we need to take care of more. Wearing high vibrational clothings like linens and wools are the highest. Organic cotton, hemp is another amazing one. I think it vibrates about the same as the linen. So you want to have as much as you can of higher vibrational. This helps healing. They've known about it for a very long time. Hospitals would always wrap people in linens, and they would have sunbathing up on the top of the building, on the top of the hospital. They'd take patients up to get sun for a certain amount of time every day. I don't know what that time period was, but they would rotate patients, getting them sun outside because that healed. Now they don't do that because that healed. And gosh, there's so much more money in your sickness. Let's see how long we can prolong it. Let's give you some more Band-Aids to cover up the symptoms until what you've been doing to get sick in the first place, you continue doing because you're not told don't do that. We're just going to throw some Band-Aids on it. And all of a sudden it's getting worse and worse. Kind of like abscessed tooth or something like that. Or you can think of it as food that's been sitting in the refrigerator for too long and you just keep on like scraping off the top. Well, the mold's still there. The badness is still there. You didn't change anything. You're just putting Band-Aids over it, like throw some jam on top of it so you don't see the mold. I don't know. But hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say is we can cover things up, but it doesn't take care of the cause. We want to get rid of the cause. So high processed foods are going to make you sick. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. You don't want to have things that like lots of sugars. We should never, ever, ever, ever consume processed, refined sugar. Period. There's nothing good about it. It's extremely addictive, more addictive than heroin. And it does more damage. It kills people. It causes addictions for children. And I was one of them. I remember being as young as maybe 2 or 3 and already getting into my mom's sugar bowl and eating the sugar cubes. Now, I self-medicated, so that was to keep me calm. I would have to have candy or sugar to be able to help me calm down enough to go to sleep at night. I was very much of an insomniac. I would usually be dozing off as the sun was coming up. It'd be like, oh gosh, you gotta hurry up and get some sleep before you have to get up and go to school when I got older, of course. But anyways, there's a lot of things that we do to our bodies that we don't think about the detrimental effects of those choices. Sugar for me was, gosh, it took me literally, and I am 61 years old, and it took me until I was 61 years old to finally get refined sugar out of my diet. I was that addicted. I quit smoking, I quit drinking, easy peasy, no problem whatsoever. Went through those moments of oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle this, I need a drink kind of thing when I first quit drinking. And same thing with smoking. I stayed off the freeway for a good 3 years because I knew that was like one of my most stressful situations, was getting on the freeway and having to navigate all of that and everything, that I would automatically light a cigarette and smoke until I got off the freeway. Like, I would light one cigarette after the other, and I did not put the cigarette down until I was off the freeway. That's how much stress freeways would cause me. And so it took me 3 years, literally, before I got on the freeway again. And immediately I reached for a cigarette going, oh, what the fuck am I doing? You know, I quit smoking. I don't do this. And like, oh my gosh, I'm on the freeway without a cigarette. And that was scary. And I had to remind myself, breathe, it's okay. But we go through these things. And I'm not purposely making this long and drawn out to drive you crazy or anything. I do have a neurodivergent brain. I find that it's gotten a whole lot better since I've been doing certain things. And I'll get into that now. So first of all, I've been doing intermittent fasting for over 10 years as I've been trying to transition to breatharianism, which is basically eliminating food and drink from the daily need. And I say the daily need because most breatharians today do have water, they'll have tea, maybe some broth, a meal. I think that Ray Maor, I think he said he eats like 1 to 3 meals a week, something like that. And I think he drinks something daily, I'm not sure. But breatharians basically sustain themselves on very little. And that's because our bodies don't really need it. We're not growing anymore, so we don't need to be eating to grow. We don't have holes in us where we're losing any fluids where we need to be putting in more. We actually take in fluids when we're breathing because there's moisture in the air. It absorbs into our skin. And so we don't need to be taking in what we have been. We're used to it. We're used to not having to be self-sustaining and getting our nutrients from other places. But as you slowly break that habit of food and eating all the time, 3 meals a day especially, was just wreaking havoc on our bodies. It's like constantly digest. We're constantly putting in toxic foods, especially into our bodies, and expecting our bodies to just break it down and be ready for the next meal in just a couple of hours. And we have snacks in between our meals, and we're just constantly bombarding our bodies to work, and we wonder why our brains aren't functioning. I don't think there's nearly the amount of true neurodivergent brains out there as people think. Or should I explain that better as autistic, ADHD or ADD, whatever those neurodivergent things, dyslexic. I think a lot of it is just our brains aren't getting what it needs, which is I think 1/5 of the calories that we intake goes to the brain, and so our 1/5 of our energy is the brain, and the rest is in the body doing other things. And breaking down all of the food that we put in, and all that crap, takes a lot of calories. But when you're eating a lot of empty calories, we've got calories that need to get burned anyways, right? So by giving our body that break, our brain gets more of the nutrients that our bodies can produce. And that gets to the next type of thing that I've been doing, which is urine therapy. And yes, I am saying urine. I am talking about what we produce, our golden elixir of life. And when we think about the body as being a machine that we drive, it makes it a little bit easier to wrap your mind around this, because you think of it as we put in whatever we're putting in, right? Whatever we're drinking, whatever we're eating, we're putting it into the body. And the body goes, okay, there's good and bad, and we got to separate the two. So the bad gets eliminated out the back chute, right? Now, if there was only bad that we're going to get rid of, and everything that's good that we enter into our bodies is going to stay in our body and get utilized, then we only need an exit, right? We only need the one poop chute. We don't need anything else, because all the bad can go out that direction. But we have two exits. We have a bad and a good. And the urine is the good. It has what our bodies need. It's like medicine that our body created for us. And it's saying, here's this gift I have for you. And it has the hormones that you need. It has it has stem cells in it. It has the blood plasma in it. It has all of these beneficial nutrients and hormones in it that is made exactly for you. And to give you an idea of just how amazing it is, we could go to the breasts. And if you're aware, if you've breastfed, you may know that the areola, when baby latches on, it senses from the baby's saliva if there's anything that the baby is lacking, what it needs, if it's been exposed to any sickness, and it starts producing exactly what the baby needs on demand. As the baby's nursing, the breast milk is being perfectly suited for the baby's needs in that moment. That's what our urine is for us. It is our body's golden elixir of life, the fountain of youth, if you will, for us to consume. And if you're eating a healthy diet, which is what I had to do before I could wrap my mind around it, because yes, it is a kind of hard thing to wrap your mind around, right? Because we're taught that it's waste, it's dirty, it's disgusting. Ugh. And if you're not eating a good diet, it smells really bad. And it doesn't taste good, I assure you. I tried it and I was like, I can't do this. I almost threw up. Like, that's not happening. But I really, truly believed in the benefits. Excuse me. And so I started learning more about it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to fast and cleanse this body, get off of all of the bad stuff, which for me, eating primarily clean for the last 10 plus years, because I've been transitioning anyways to breatharianism, wasn't a whole lot that I needed to change. I made sure I got rid of all the refined sugar, which is where that happened, when that happened actually. It's like, okay, I want to do this. I have to get rid of that first. And so I got rid of that. I started eating plant-based. And I say that, and I want to say raw, whole foods. And for me, being a type O blood type, hunter-gatherer, we're meant to have meat. And I've never done well on a vegetarian diet before. And I want to stress that, because the difference in this is I'm doing it as a healing process. I still allow myself to have some ghee, and I allow myself to have whole probiotic yogurt, organic, so that I am getting some of those proteins that my body as a type O needs. I'm not doing it in large quantities, but I'm also not eating large quantities. And I'm staying away from processed or overcooked foods and making sure everything is cooked at a very low temperature to retain its nutritional value. So I think it's like 120, 119, somewhere in there, that's still considered raw, if you will, as dehydrating foods or cooking at low temperatures. And that will keep the most of the nutritional value of the food still contained within it. So we need to eat very little, is what I'm really wanting to say here. When I started doing urine therapy, I'm on 3 weeks now. Yay! And I've started doing it in my eyes. So first I was just drinking. And then I started putting it on my face and my neck. And then I started putting it all over my body because it's supposed to help with all of the skin, any issues that you have. My first introduction to using it on my skin topically was I had gotten exposed to the madrone tree, which is my nemesis, that will always cause a horrible rash like most people get with poison ivy or poison oak, whichever. Anyways, so I put urine on it, and I only used it like 2 or 3 times topically. And instead of it normally taking 6 to 8 weeks of me putting on the castor oil and such and cleaning it all the time and using the different soaps on it and such, it was gone within just over a week. I think it's like on day 8, day 9, there was no evidence of it anymore. And I'd only used it a couple of times. And I was still putting the castor oil on it every day, several times a day actually, because it was just so dried out and rough. But 3 times of applying the urine, and I noticed each time I did it, it was almost immediately better. It soothed the itch and everything. So it was really amazing, which is probably why they say topically for stings, especially like everybody knows jellyfish stings, pee on it. Well, it's the same thing with anything topical. If you have psoriasis, pee on it. It will help heal pretty much anything topically. Taking it internally is everything your body needs. So if I have an imbalance somewhere in my body, hormonally or whatever, if I'm emotional because of the hormones, and I'm drinking my urine, that will balance my hormones and help calm my nervous system. So there's something to it. And I've only been doing it for, like I said, 3 weeks. So I'm excited to find out what all it does. I've done it 3 times now up the nose, where instead of just taking the Q-tip and swabbing, which I started about a week ago, yesterday was the first time I actually poured urine up my nose and let it trickle out. Freaked me out. I'm not a neti pot person or anything like that. That's something I've always wanted to learn how to do because I know the benefits, but I keep on feeling like I'm going to drown. And so I struggle with that. And so in doing that twice yesterday and so far once today, I have noticed that I can breathe much easier. I'm normally like always congested, especially, just allergy season, so to speak, but it's almost every day, all day long. I could just blow my nose at any point in time because it's just always congested. And I'm already a lot clearer. I feel a lot lighter in my head. So I am noticing differences. And I need to stress that I'm noticing, because my normal neurodivergent brain, I'm literally like back and forth. Okay, that was just a minute ago and this is right now. That's different. That's different. That's typically how my brain works. I have to see the before to notice that the after is different. Otherwise, it's like, well, I feel about the same. I feel okay. And I don't pay attention. So for me to notice without somebody else having to point it out, like when we went to, I can talk. I remember going to the chiropractor once, and I really didn't want to go. I was feeling so horrible that day. I had a terrible headache, and I was feeling nauseous and everything. And so I go to the chiropractor, and he works on me for about, I don't know, these were long appointments, so it was about an hour appointment. And I think it's about 45 minutes in, and he goes, so do you feel any different? And I'm like thinking, and I'm like scanning my body, and it's like, I feel about the same, I guess. I don't know. He goes, well, how's your headache? I'm like, oh yeah, I had a headache when I got here, didn't I? Yeah, no headache. Was how my brain always worked before. So for the fact that my brain is clear enough to notice changes is amazing. So if it's something that you're looking into or considering urine therapy, highly recommend it. Definitely get some books on it. You don't want to start urine therapy if you're taking medications. You don't want to start urine therapy if you're eating a really crap diet. There's no reason. Because if you're not willing to change your diet, don't bother gagging down your morning urine, especially, which is the morning is the best. That is what most people will just generally do, is just the morning urine, and that's it. Drinking, 4, 8 ounces or whatever, or maybe drinking all that you urinate in the morning. and that's it. I've been doing what's called looping. So I'm drinking it out throughout the day, but I'm not drinking everything that I urinate. So it's not necessarily looping, because those are people that drink everything that comes out throughout the day up until a certain point. You don't want to drink it in the evening, so because it will keep you awake. It does help energize your body, which is a great side effect, especially for me, which I think is kind of funny because with my capital H in my ADHD, I am usually very hyper. So for me, it's actually doing the opposite. It's helping me to be calmer, but still have energy, if that makes sense. So I'm able to get done whatever needs to get done, get the work done that I need to do, but I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I've got to do something. I've been sitting for too long. I can actually sit still, which is crazy for me because sitting still was something that I could never do. I still prefer cross-legged. I don't like sitting in chairs. Chairs are too uncomfortable for me. But that's a whole nother topic. So other things that we can do for our health, and thinking of this whole body healing that we have. So we've got our clothing. There's also the chemicals we're putting on. So instead of putting on, say, deodorant, you can use a salt crystal. It does take time for your body to not smell, because our smell comes from our diet. So if we're eating clean foods, we're not going to have much of a body smell anyways. Just saying. So the more that you transition, if you choose to a more whole food based diet and eating less, so our bodies are able to clean out and be clean, kind of thing. So the more that we do that, the healthier we get, the more we want to do more of that, which is how I got to the urine therapy. Because I was like, okay, I've been doing the fasting and cleansing the body and eating whole foods now. Now it's time for that next step. And I've been pretty healthy most of my life. I'm going to tell you right now, my health journey started very young. So I've always been looking at alternatives and taking care of this body myself. Not that I didn't make plenty of mistakes. I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to drink alcohol a lot. I used to sugaraholic my majority of my entire life. Oh my gosh, I can't even think about it. I used to crack up when they'd say the average American has, I don't know how many pounds of sugar in a year. It's like, I'm the reason why that's up so high, because of the amount of sugar I would consume in a day was probably as much as the average person would consume in a week. That's what my daily was. And to give you an idea, at my worst, I would wake up in the morning and have my breakfast, which would usually consist of like a bagel, which carbs convert to sugars, just making sure that's clear here, and I'd put jam on it, converts to sugar, so it is sugar. So it was sugar with sugar, and that was breakfast. Lunch would be a typical lunch that the average person would have in America anyways, which was 2 pieces of bread and whatever I was throwing in between, which would be quite often a burger or a pastrami sandwich or a roast beef sandwich. I'd have chips, all of these things, most of it converting into sugars. And sugars was always involved because, you get dessert, you get a treat after eating your healthy meal, or your meal, because they weren't really healthy back then. And then throughout the day, those great big super-sized boxes of hot tamales, or Mike and Ike's, but hot tamales was my favorite. I would eat 2 to 3 of those boxes every day on top of my normal sugar addiction with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and dessert. And dessert did not include the hot tamales because that was separate. So dessert would be like a cake or a cookie or several cookies. Let's face it, when you make cookies, you're not having just 1 or 2. You're having like 5 or 6 or more. And you're sampling the batter as you're making it. And then you have to have the first one to make sure they turned out okay. Yeah, and then you'd sit down with dessert and sometimes have ice cream with it. So I had a serious sugar addiction. And now Sometimes even just one spoonful of honey with the cayenne pepper in it is like enough sweetness for me. So I'm doing much better now on my sugar addiction, but it has been a lifelong struggle. And that was the last thing for me that I needed to let go of, was the sugar. So I'm doing good now, but I'm 61 and this has been a lifelong journey, because change is difficult, especially when you have a neurodivergent brain. And it's a push-pull. It's like, I know it's going to make me healthier and smarter and clearer brained, and I'm going to love it, but I really like my sugar, and I really love those comfort foods. And it's hard. It's a choice you have to make and say, you know what? This is more important to me than that. And that's the end of it. What's more important? So now when I eat anything that I consume, I ask myself, is it worth the calories? Is it worth the possible damage that it can do to my body by eating it? Because it might be so good. I might just really miss having a great big burger with, oh my gosh, this fried onions. There's like deep fried crispy onions on it, and lots of barbecue sauce, pickles, maybe even some sauerkraut, who knows. Oh my gosh. Okay, gotta have a good cheese on it, not a typical, no American cheese, but like a good cheese, like a Gruyere or a Fontina. Like I like the soft cheeses, and they just melt so nicely on the burger. Oh my gosh. But the stomachache that I'm going to get from it, it's not worth it. The damage that it might do to my body, having to clean out all of that gunk, it's not worth it. And the fact that because I've had it before, I can just sit here and remember and think about that burger and how yummy it was. And it's like, yeah, I got to relive it. Just like we relive all of our traumas, right? We relive over and over. We play that scenario and we feel in our body that trauma, that disgust, that hurt, that anger, that sorrow, whatever it was. We can create that in our bodies from an experience that happened 50 years ago in my reality, or more than 50 years ago. I can think of some of those. But anyways, we can relive all of those fun moments of having the cheesecake with the blueberries on it, or we can have that cinnamon roll that's fresh out of the oven. And we can experience it just from our memories. We don't need to eat it. We can say, oh, that was so good, but oh my gosh, my body really didn't need that. And I'm so grateful that I'm taking care of this body now. And I want to get back to it being separate from us. And for a lot of people, we need to separate ourselves from the body because we're so used to, like I said earlier, taking care of everything outside of us. We don't put it on ourselves. So if we can do that, if we can put it on ourselves of, this is this amazing vehicle, like let's say God, our creator, gave us a beautiful brand new car, which is what this is. It's a vehicle that we just drive around in. And it's a highly advanced, it's got hands and fingers, it can talk and communicate and see and smell and taste and touch, and it can do all kinds of things. It can have lots of different experiences, and you can feel everything. The wind on your body, you can feel that and experience that. So what an amazing vehicle we were given. Take care of it. Don't destroy it. Love it. Let it have experiences, not constantly having to go and take care of it at the doctor's office and getting a medication for this and a medication for that. Don't do that. Take responsibility of your body, because your body was created for you, not for me. Your body's needs are different than mine. Everybody's body's needs are different. What we want to experience is going to influence what our bodies need. Do I need to build lots of muscle? Then I might need to take in more calories than I have been. Maybe not. Maybe my body will just build all those muscles and without consuming anything. And if you have ever seen Ray Moore, he is a very fit young man. I think he's in his 40s. very strong and fit, and he hardly consumes anything. So we don't need to have the things that we think we need. We just need to take care of this body and allow it to heal. This is a self-healing body. Our bodies, when we get a fever, that's our body's way of getting rid of things that don't belong. It's killing them off. It's raising the temperature to kill off things that don't need to be in our bodies. Diarrhea is our body's flushing out all of this stuff. Throwing up is our body's getting rid of the toxins that we might have consumed. So why is it that when we throw up, we take a medicine to stop us from throwing up? When we get a fever, we take a medicine to get rid of the fever. When we have diarrhea, we're taking something to stop the diarrhea. That's our body's way of naturally taking care of itself. And we're told, don't let it do that. Here's a drug for you. We've got you covered. And you feel better because the brain's being tricked. That's what the medications do. They put Band-Aids on so that we don't see the problem. There's not one medication out there that's a cure. It's a Band-Aid. So we have to take care of ourselves via our food, via drinking water, and quality water. You don't drink tap water. You want it, preferably, in my reality, I like distilled water or stream water. If it's fresh, pumped stream water, that is amazing. Gosh, when I lived in Alaska, where was it? Feather River, I think it was, we'd go to and get just big bottles of the water. We just fill it up there, and it was the best tasting water ever. It was just full of life. I mean, you take a drink out of it and you just felt alert. It was just like boom, and you're like, wow, I feel great now, whoosh, kind of thing. It's structured water because it's in the flow. It's been structured. So I distill my water and I keep it in copper. And then you can always just like swish it around if you want to add more oxygen to it. There's put a pinch of gray salt in it. It's just, you want to drink quality water. Otherwise, why bother? Otherwise, you're just putting things in. It's just going out kind of thing. So obviously what we're putting in our water, our foods, we want to make sure that our foods are as raw or natural as possible. Vegetables, it's better for our bodies if they're slightly al dente. You just want it slightly warmed is the best. You don't want it overcooked because then you're killing all the nutrients, but you don't want it just raw where it's very gaseous, I guess is the right word for me to say. And being neurodivergent and having an amazing memory that it's getting better since I've been doing UT. But anyways, I do forget the terms or the right words to be used. So forgive me for that. And yeah, my whole reason for making videos, or making this video especially, is for you to be responsible for yourself. Not the doctor, not your partner, not the societal norms or that food pyramid that we're taught. That's a bunch of crap. But you taking responsibility for you. If you eat something and your body goes, oh man, I don't feel good, analyze that. Why is that making me feel sick? And if I'm feeling sick from eating that, maybe my body doesn't want that. Instead of, oh, well, here's this medication you can take, antacids and such, to keep that food down and to not have any problems from eating that food that you should not be eating in the first place. And let's face it, with these processed foods, it's not even real food anymore. There's nothing food in it that you'd consume. I mean, you look at the ingredients, and it's like all chemical based, and now they're wanting to create meat that way from a machine. Let's just feed in some chemicals or whatever, and let's produce the meat, and there you go. Why don't we just reduce the quantity of foods that we eat quality foods, and live longer, happier, healthier lives without medications? Yeah, what a concept. Anyways, Thank you for watching. I hope that you will take into consideration your body and its needs a little bit more. Give yourself a hug. Remind yourself that you're worth being loved and worth being cared for, and that it's up to you. Don't give your power to anybody else. This is your power, your body. The doctor's vested interest is in his paycheck. It has nothing to do with your health. His vested interest is not in your health. It is in your sickness. The longer he can keep you on those medications, he's just, yeah, let me give you 5 refills for that. He doesn't have to see you for those 5 refills, and they just get refilled, and he's getting kickbacks each time. And you're buying into it. So let's separate from that. Let's take back our power and find out what true health really feels like. And I'm on that journey right now with this, utilizing the UT, urine therapy. And yeah, I can't wait to see how far it goes. I'm looking forward to opening up my mind more. I'm looking forward to better health already. And it's been probably about a week now of waking up in the morning without any back pain. That's insane for me. I've been waking up with back pain since I was 5. I've never not woken up with stiffness in my back, struggling to move around. I remember up until I was in my 20s, it hurt to breathe when I'd first wake up because my back was that bad. But my dad said kids don't have back pain. I couldn't tell him that I climbed the tree and fell out, and he just said don't climb that tree before I climbed it. So I certainly feared my father more than I did dealing with the back pain. That's pretty sad when a 5-year-old child can't tell their parents that they hurt themselves because of fear of doing something they weren't supposed to do. The punishment versus the, I need to see a doctor. So it wasn't until my 20s when I finally got to see a chiropractor who helped me. And even I just remember him shaking his head going, I can't believe you're moving the way you're moving. With x-rays like this, you should be in a wheelchair. And I was just starting crying. I'm like going, can you help me? And he's like, oh yeah. And he did. He helped me a lot. Just really quick, when you stand up with your heels against the wall, up against a flat wall, you should have one hand flat in between your lower back and the wall, and it should be snug. That's how much space should be between your lower back and the wall. I would have 2 fists, and I could not touch the wall and the lower back at the same time. I would have to go, there's the back, but I'm not touching the wall. That's how bad my back was. I had the most severe case of sway back he had seen, not in a wheelchair. And then I had scoliosis in the upper vertebra, and I had my neck curved out the opposite direction, all due to a lot of emotional trauma growing up. So just our bodies keep the score, right? Everything will manifest in our bodies. So we not only have to heal physically with how we putting things into our bodies and processing that, but up here, telling yourself every day, I love you. I am so grateful for everything you did today. I'm proud of you. Every night when I go to bed, after I've done my journaling, I give myself a hug and I tell myself, I love you. And then I'm proud of you. And I'll name off the things that I did that day that I'm proud of you for, even if it's just, you took it easy today. You let your body rest. All while hugging myself. Because I deserve that hug, right? We deserve being hugged, and we don't get enough hugs these days, as far as I'm concerned. And then I say, I am grateful. I'm grateful for the people in my life. I'm grateful for my pets, which I don't really like to call them pets. Cohabitants on my property. I have a dog, his name is Moose, and he is huge, and he keeps me safe. And then I have 2 little kitty cats that are in training to keep the rodent problem under control. So they cohabitate here with me. And then I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for whatever I'm grateful for that day. I'm grateful for this certain interaction. I'm grateful for the ability to make videos and that I have over 300 subscribers now, which is amazing. that means that at least a few people have found benefits from the words that I share. And that's kind of like all we can hope for, or at least for some of us. For me, I want to help people. If I know something that can help, like with right now with urine therapy is a big one for me right now, but just our diets, the way we talk to ourselves, all of these different things, it's not just I have an obligation in my reality to share that information with people because you need to know it. If somebody says the fire's hot, don't touch it, I gotta tell you the fire's hot. Now I might tell you put your hand close to it so you can feel. Certainly gonna tell you to put your hand into it. But you notice the difference, of course. But it's your responsibility to take care of yourself. And it's my responsibility in my reality to share whatever information I have that can help you. Because why wouldn't I? If we are all connected, if we are all fractals of the Creator, which is, in my belief, true, that's my truth, that we are all connected, then if I help you, I'm helping me because I'm helping the whole. Does it make sense? So why would I not help as I'm able to? Why would I not do that for you? And so that's what I'm trying to do with my videos. That's what I try to do with the workshops that I am doing over at Body Alchemy in Grants Pass, Oregon, if you're in the area. And we'll be doing lots of different things that's for mind, body, and spirit. And so hopefully we'll see you over there. And again, thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you.